Hey everyone, hope you all are doing well. It's me Natalia Noorgil, and in today's video I'm going to present one of the grammar topics known as non-count nouns. I'm sure that you all might have heard about nouns and its various types such as proper noun, common noun, collective noun, and yes, there is one more type, count and non-count nouns. And today we are going to learn about non-count nouns. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you that non-count has one more name, and it is also known as uncountable nouns or mass nouns. Alright, and unlike count nouns, non-count nouns cannot be counted. Okay, so it means in non-count nouns we have abstract quantities. Yes, and what do you mean by abstract quantities? Abstract quantities means that they do not refer directly to the object. They are the opposite of concrete nouns. Okay, so here we have some of the examples in front of you. For example, milk, bread, sugar. These all are non-count nouns or uncountable nouns or mass nouns. So you should remember that non-count nouns have two more names: uncountable nouns and mass nouns. Yes, so now you all might be thinking that we can count milk by saying 3 cups of milk, or we can count sugar by saying 2 spoons of sugar. But let me clear out this confusion that when you are saying 3 cups of milk or 2 cups of coffee or 3 spoons of sugar, you are not referring to that object. You are referring to the container by which you are measuring it. Alright, so basically, what you have to do is whenever you are quantifying a non-count noun, you always have to use a quantifying phrase. Yes, a quantifying phrase. Okay, so what are quantifying phrases? Quantifying phrases are a group of words which express the quantity of non-count nouns or uncountable nouns or mass nouns. Okay, and they are always placed before a noun. They are never placed after the noun. Remember to put the quantifying phrase always before a non-count or uncountable noun. For example, when I talked about the milk, like a glass of milk. So what am I doing is a glass of is a quantifying phrase. So I am putting a quantifying phrase in front of milk. And what is milk? Milk is a non-count noun. Same goes for rice. When I talk about rice, I say a grain of rice. Okay, what is a grain of? A grain of is a quantifying phrase. Why? Because it is telling you the quantity of rice. Same goes for wine. When I say a bottle of wine, what does it mean? It means that I'm telling the quantity of wine. Whereas wine is a non-count noun, but by using a quantifying phrase, I am telling you that how much wine is there. There is a bottle of wine. One more example, furniture. What can we use for furniture? Very good. A piece of furniture, right? You can use a quantifying phrase, a piece of, for using furniture. Alright, what about milk? Good job. A cup of milk. Okay, see, when we are adding a cup of in front of milk, it means we are telling the quantity of that, and therefore a cup of is also a quantifying phrase. Again, a slice of bread, a slice of cheese, a slice of meat. These all are what? A slice of, a cup of, a piece of, a grain of, a bottle of. All these are quantifying phrases. One more example, advice. When we talk about advice, my father gave me a piece of advice. Alright, a piece of is what? It is also a quantifying phrases. I hope you all understood. Okay, so we do not usually use indefinite article, a or an, with non-count or uncountable nouns. Alright, for example, you will never hear a milk, you will never hear a money, you will never hear a rice or a water. What you're going to hear is a bottle of water, a piece of news, or a grain of rice. So basically, you can use indefinite articles, but in the form of quantifying phrases. Your quantifying phrases can have that article, indefinite article, a or an, a substantial amount of money, right? See, is just still there, right? But you can never begin a non-count directly with a indefinite article, a or an. Never. It will be a major mistake, a grammatical mistake, in non-count nouns if you use indefinite article at the starting of non-count nouns like directly. So make sure you use a quantifying phrase, and that quantifying phrase can begin with a or an, and that would be correct. So, we usually treat uncountable nouns as singular, and what does it mean? It means that we never put s in front of them because they do not have plural forms. Okay? So, if I say the information given by the teacher was not relevant, it means that information is a non-count noun and I did not put an s to it. So make sure that you never put s to non-count nouns. Alright? If homework is there, I got a lot of homework yesterday. You see, although there is a lot of homework, but I did not put s in front of homework. Why? Because it's a non-count noun and it cannot have s. Okay? If I say knowledge is power, now knowledge is a non-count noun and therefore I cannot put an s to it. Okay? I hope it's clear up till here. Okay, so let's move forward using much for non-count nouns. Okay, so before explaining, I just want to ask y'all that what do we use for count nouns? Many. Very good. We use many for count nouns. And what do we use for non-count nouns? We use much. So it's written that much can be used in negative statements and in questions. If you say, I don't have much time to complete the paper, or I don't have much money to buy my books, it means you are using much in front of a non-count noun, that is money and time. Okay? And this is a negative statement because it has don't in front of it. Got it? What about questions? If we talk about questions, how much money do we need for the trip? Or how much time is required for the assessment? Got it? So you are asking a question, and what are you using? You are using much, time and money, and sugar, milk, all these non-count nouns, they have much in front of them. Please don't make this mistake of putting many in negative and question in non-count nouns. Alright? But listen to this. We don't usually use much in affirmative statements. When we are talking about affirmative statements, we never use much because it doesn't seem appropriate. Alright? So it's better to use a lot of. If you are using a lot of, that is more appropriate. Okay? So rather than saying I have much homework, you can say I have a lot of homework. Or I have much money, you can say I have a lot of money. I have much time, you can say I have a lot of time. Got it? Good job. Okay, so when in doubt, for example, if you are confused whether to use many or much, there is a tip. You can use a lot of and it would be correct. So there might be situations where you might be confused, or in the exams also, that whether to use many or much. So what is the easiest way to do that? You can write a lot of, and a lot of can be used for count and non-count nouns both. So next, a little versus little. Look at the words carefully. What do you think? Is there any difference between these two? Yes, they are different. It's just not the matter of the letter A, but they are entirely different. A little means that some or small quantity, whereas little means hardly any amount. So when I say a little, it gives me a positive meaning, whereas when I say little, it gives me a negative meaning. Got it? Let's have a look at the example. If I say just a little effort is required, or I drank a little milk in the morning, it means at least some effort is required or a small quantity of effort is required. Got it? And it's giving a positive meaning. Just focus on the sentence. Okay? But if I say that there is little water left in Pakistan, it means it's giving a negative meaning. Little means hardly, and that is not enough. Okay? So when I say little, it means something that is not enough, hardly any amount, and that's why it gives a negative meaning. If I say there was little time for the paper to finish, alright, so again it means hardly any time. Again, it is a negative meaning. Okay, and if I say that there is a little water in the refrigerator, I will say that I mean that there is some water in the refrigerator, and therefore it gives a positive meaning. Alright, so this is the major difference between a little versus little. Time for review. So now let's revise whatever we have studied in today's video. First of all, no plural form. Okay, so I've already explained you all that non-count nouns, uncountable nouns or mass nouns, they do not have a plural form and you never add s to them. Okay, for example, homework cannot be homeworks, information cannot be informations, wisdom cannot be wisdoms, advice cannot be advices. Okay, you never add s to them. Alright, next, don't use a lot of without a noun after it. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that after a lot of, you always add a noun. For example, if I ask you that how many friends do you have, you will answer me a lot of friends. So a lot of and then friends is a noun. What if you don't want to use noun? Then in that case you have to remove of also, the preposition. Got it? If I say, do you miss your school days? You will say yes, a lot. Don't add a noun to it and therefore you will remove of also. Okay, next, don't use a determiner before a non-count noun. It means that you never use articles, demonstrative adjectives directly with a non-count noun. You use them in the form of quantifying phrases. Next, use much, little and a little with non-count nouns. So I already explained that whenever you want to use much, little and a little, you can only use in non-count nouns. Never use them in count nouns. For count nouns you use many, few or a few. Okay, so make sure, and when you are confused between many or much, you can also use a lot of. Okay, avoid using much in affirmative statements. A very important thing to remember. Never use much in affirmative statements. Why? Because it doesn't seem appropriate. If you use a lot of in affirmative sentences, that would be more appropriate. For example, you can say a lot of experience, alright, or you can say a lot of wisdom. Don't use much in affirmative statements. You can use much in questions or negative statements. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you all liked the video and understood the topic. If you have any query or any confusion, you are free to ask me in the comment section below. And one more thing, if you want me to make more videos on any of the other grammar topics, you are free to suggest in the comment section below. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.